Hi, good morning, everyone. Uh, how are you all? Hope you're fine and also safe at your home. So, today, the seventh session. We are at a long run. We already passed halfway mark, and we are already at the seventh session today. And we are going to learn about animation in game development. So in today's session, I will take you through how the animation pipeline works in a game and how the bigger games, MMOs talking about and fighting game, any game, how the character, behaves when you press some key or, based on some event generated. Okay. So, I just want to know you that you are safe at home and everything is good. So we'll start in Unity and within 5 minutes, and let your friends join in then. Good morning, Chetan. H Gamer, good morning. Sorry about my throat. I lost it last night. Windows 7, it should work in any of the ways. It doesn't matter. It should work. You can go to Unity's um, hardware requirement section. Stick it there. Mm, just search for. See, Windows 7 and Windows 10, 64-bit version only. You can follow these. These are the minimum system requirements for installing Unity. Okay. So yeah, you've logged in from the if Unity app, then your attendance will be taken there. So I'm really happy about you guys. You are showing your full enthusiasm and always be activate. You're always active in our Slack group and posting your all sort of errors and everything. Okay. Um, I today I'll also show you, just if I remember that how you should post an error message. Okay. So that I'll understand that what is the exact error it is. So if you're taking screenshots from the console and posting it over there, that is not the actual error message. So that's an error. So there is a detailed error message you'll get when you click on any errors. Okay. So I'll show you, and if you post that, then it will tell me that from which script or which part of a script it's actually happening. So I can go to the script I have, and I can solve your problem over there. Bacon hairs, I think it's a bot, maybe, guessing. So when we were at school, probably I was at class 10. So that time we had MiG 33. um, we used to use that, and for chatting and all. So we used to make, custom users, and we gave them scripts, okay, basically PHP and Python scripts to flood any of the chat room or anything. I think Beacon is living up to that right now in the YouTube. So if any of you are having issues with um, Unity system requirement, you can go there and check. Unity's hardware requirement, what's the minimum system you must have to install Unity. Okay, so I'll just turn off my video and I will directly jump into Unity. Okay, so with that, I'll introduce you some of the pretty cool tools about where you can if you're really planning for a prototype of a game, where you will find your appropriate 3D models, any characters if you need, all those things. Okay, so let's start. So earlier today we'll talk about everything about animation and how we draw animations, how we make the animation work when he press any key, when we generate an event like that. Okay, so in the last class I was giving you a glimpse of how a door open or door close, those kind of animation should work. Okay, so let's start with that, so that we already understood that how it actually works, and it will be pretty easier to understand how we do that. Okay, so I will probably use this scene, or let me create a new one, and let me give you another glimpse of what the other prefabs we have with this. Okay, so let's create a new scene. Okay, so it's asking me to save it. I'll save it. Okay, so this is a scene and it has nothing. Okay, so I will add so I'm just going through terrain creation pipeline as well. Okay, so hope you'll also understand that. Okay, so just be here and try to catch as much as you can. Okay, if not, you can come back at the exact minute. So we are at 11:08, so you can come back at the same time, 11 minute the video, and you can you can rewatch. Okay, to make things work. Okay, so I'll just right click, I'll go to 3D object and I'll create a terrain. Okay, so we already have seen a plane. Okay, so and what is the terrain then? So you already know what is the terrain is. Terrain, I'll tell you how a terrain is different from a plane in any game. Okay, so here it's a plane. Okay, generic plane. When you right click and add a plane, it will add this plane. Okay, and this is a terrain. Okay, so here you can see the terrain size is it's absolutely bigger than the plane size. Okay, so it's almost about 10 uh, 10 amount bigger than the plane. Okay, a terrain is. Okay, and a plane is, you can also make a terrain area shorter. Okay, so when you add a terrain, and if you go to terrain tools, okay, so here in the inspector, here you'll get to see some of the tools are there. Okay, paint trees, paint details. Okay, raise a lower terrain. Okay, clear neighbor terrains and settings, grouping ID. Okay, then drawing terrain width and terrain length. Okay, so you can always make its size bigger or lower as your requirement. Okay. So a plane, it's a mesh like a terrain, but you can't deform the mesh of a plane, whereas in terrain you can deform the mesh of a terrain. Okay, so it's synthetic, flexible. You can edit the ground as you want. Okay, and but in the plane you can't do that. Okay, so I'll just delete the plane, and clicking on terrain, the size is pretty much big. Okay, it's 1000, you can see. So I'll drop it down to 500. Okay, so I don't want that much bigger area as well. Anyway, okay, and the terrain, I want to apply some textures on it. So terrain I told you terrain is it's a bit different than a plane. So in the plane, so if I have a plane over here, okay, how I add material into a plane, that is, I just drag and drop a material on a plane. Okay, but in the terrain I can't do that. Okay, if I drag and drop it, it won't take. Okay, so there is a different kind of approach how we add a texture on terrain. Okay, so if you go to paint, okay, so terrain, clicking on the terrain, and I'm on a paint, and I'll go to paint texture. Okay, in the paint texture, it has terrain layers, brushes and everything, but it doesn't have a layer. Okay, so terrain layers are nothing over here. So I'll click on edit terrain layers and create a layer. Okay, and the layer I'll just look for grass, if available. Yeah, so the grass hill albedo. Okay, it is available. I'll just double click on it and it will add a layer over here. Okay, and similarly I want to add another layer. Okay, edit terrain layer, create a layer, and I'll just search for grass again, and grass rocky. Okay, so I'll add this one too. Okay, now you see, now the terrain, it looks like something is painted over here. You can go closer and you can see that the texture is painted. Okay, so you can click on any texture and go down. We have 2 terrain layers now. Okay, always you can always add normal maps. So I'll select from where we have added it, and okay, so I'll add mud rocky, that one as well. Okay, so this one I have added. Okay, and I can add normal map. So what normal map does is, it will add some bump. Okay, so in the if we are adding an image on top of anything, a plane or or a terrain, but it doesn't give you any kind of bumpiness. Okay, any kind of ups and downs on the plane terrain. Okay, but when you add normal map, okay, it will calculate all the contrast of the texture, and it will add the bump on the edges. Okay, in each edges. Okay, so the theory you don't need to understand. Okay, so I'll click this terrain layer and I'll just paint it like this. Okay, so this entire area becomes a bump area. Okay, now I'll go back to assets and I will add rigid body FPS controller. Okay, so I'll add this rigid body FPS controller. So it's looking like it's halfway under the ground, and I'll take it a bit up like this. It has a rigid body connected, so anyway, wherever it is, it will drop on the top. Okay, so I'll delete the main camera. Okay, just I deleted the main camera because we already have a camera over here. Rigid body FPS controller. If you go inside, you'll get to see that there's a main camera over there. Okay, and it has the rigid body. It has a capsule collider. It has a rigid body first person controller. Okay, the movement settings and everything, forward speed, backward speed, all the property you can change, and you can play accordingly. So I'll just play and check how these prefabs work. Okay, what it gives to me. Okay, so I can move around. Okay, and now I can go forward, I can come backward, I can go right, I can go left. Okay, it's almost like FPS you're seeing over here. Okay, and as this area is a bit bumpy, you can see, because it has a normal map added, and if I go to this area, it doesn't have a normal map added, so it's looking like it's a plain area. Okay, and okay, so I won't waste time digging down into unnecessary things for today. Okay, so I'll just go and create a 3D object. Okay, so if you search for door, the asset store, so I'm creating one custom door inside Unity. So I'll look at the asset store if I find any 3D model of any door. Okay, so most of the thing you'll find interesting, but it's tough to understand, so you don't need to worry about that. You just follow the process, you just follow the, come back and see the video, you follow the steps that I've taken, and you just work on that if you need it. Okay, if you don't need it, if you're good with your whatever ongoing you are doing. Okay, I've seen that most of you are doing a pretty good job developing FPS games, downloading it from Unity Learn, and you are working on it by yourself. You just edit the colors and look and feel. I've shown you how to edit the lights, how to change the look and feel of a game. Okay, you just edit those things inside your project, inside your game that you're working on. It's fine for you. Okay, so these tutorials are all about learning, so that in future, if any point, so you will get to know that okay, so if I have a animation controller, if I have an animation, then I can control it with a script. Okay, so any questions up to now? Chetan, if you have a good system with a good configuration, you can always download that, but as we are not focusing on the programming side of the game development, because most of the concepts you'll get to see that you won't understand anything of those. Okay, so it just, I'll give you just a glimpse of it, how it can work, how you should work on it, or so that in future, if you're planning for similar things, and you can recall that, oh okay, so okay, this is how I used to do these things. Okay, okay, so rigid body FPS controller, if you see, and if you just click on this arrow over here, you just expand it, and it will get to see the main camera. Okay, if it's added from the Unity, sorry, the standard assets. Okay, so go to standard assets, I'll go to characters, I'll go to first person controller. Okay, then prefabs, then there is a FPS controller, then there is a rigid body FPS controller. Okay, so I've added rigid body FPS controller. Okay, so FPS controller should have camera. I'll just check. Okay, first person character. Okay, it also has a camera. Okay, first person character. So it all the camera may not be written as main camera or anything. Okay, but if you click on any object, so I'm clicking on the first person character, it doesn't it doesn't define it's a camera, but if I click on it, I'll get to see that there is a camera component attached, so it's obviously a camera. Okay, so why you need rigid body FPS controller is we are going to sense that a rigid body is roaming around in the environment. Okay, yeah, you can always switch your platforms, no issues. So when you switch platform and if you import standard assets again, so you'll get to see the similar error that you have seen with Unity is 2018.4. So there was a simple one line error you will get. You just have to get rid of it. Okay, so I already posted some of the I have already posted some of the example code how you can actually eliminate that error. Okay, so you can follow that, and the Slack group it's there. Okay, and you can get rid of it, and you can work on any version. So we are not forcing you to install this or that. It's up to you. Okay, we are just giving you a learning, so it's open learning, and it's like gathering all the components at the end of it. You'll be able to understand that how a game development pipeline works. Okay, so anyway, I'll search for a door if I find any free uh, asset, if somebody kept for us. Okay, so door, you can see it will cost almost $7. Okay, so I don't want those, I want some free assets. Okay, so I'll go to pricing, I'll make it as free assets. Okay, so we are Indians, we love anything, anything and everything as free. Door feedback. Okay, classic interior door pack. Okay, let's check this one. So similarly, if you need any objects that you want to import in your game, if you are good enough with creating 3D models by yourself, it's good for you. If you don't, then you don't have to worry. You can always come back to a store. You can always search for any free assets if it is available. You can use that, or otherwise you can search around the internet as well. Okay, so it's downloaded. I'll import it. If I click on import, then the composition it says, and I see it's not being imported. Okay, I think there is some issues with that particular interior door pack. I'll just back, or either my Unity is slow. No, okay, so there's a window. So import Unity package. Okay, and I'll click on import. Okay, so as soon as it's finished importing everything, and get to see that there's a JJ interior door. So we have a folder of it, and I'll just go to scene window and go to prefabs, and there are so there are a good number of doors are there. Okay, so I'll just add one door here. Okay, so the JJ door to white. So okay, so this is the door that we are going to walk with. Okay, and to make it more interesting, I'll just add a 3D object cube over there. Okay, the Y view, you can see that there's a gap. You can take it there and scale. Okay, scale it like this so that it will look like an Y. Okay, and maybe I can scale it this way. So why I'm not using this scale tool over here is, and if I scale it on the x-axis, okay, it will stretch from both ends. Okay, so what I don't want, so I fixed it over here, and I'll go to the rectangle tool and just stretch it minus. Okay, so I'll duplicate the cube. Okay, and I'll just use the move tool and I'll move it here. Okay, just double click on this. Okay, so there's a loop. If you look inside, there's a gap, and now there's no gap. Okay, so it's looking like it's a bit uplifted from the ground. So what we can do is we can take it a bit under the ground and this now. Similarly, this one as well. Okay, so there is a gap, you can see, so we can eliminate the gap with move to if we move closer. Okay, fine, cool. Still a gap. Go to solution view and X, and now all the gaps will be visible. Okay, now there is no gap. Anyway, so I'll come back to perspective view. Okay, okay, so I got a door. Okay, and it has walls. Okay, so what we are going to do is, we have a player over here, and I want my player to pass through it. Okay, not illegally but legally. Okay, he will arrive at some point and it will ask to open the door. Okay, then it will pass through. Okay, so any questions up to now? Do you guys have any questions, or shall I proceed? You're understanding everything? Okay. Okay, so yeah, how to add a layer of the terrain. So if you click on terrain, okay, and if you go to this paint tool over here, okay, so you click on that. Okay, so there will be a different set of tool maybe activated. You just have to click on paint texture. Okay, click on paint texture, and if you it will be collapsed. Okay, and here you'll get to see edit terrain layers. So now I have 3 terrain layers. Okay, and but initially you won't have anything. Okay, so you'll click on edit terrain layers, create layer, and it will ask you for a texture to texture to select. Okay, then so we already have imported standard assets, so it comes with some default terrain textures with it. Okay, so we can search for grass. Okay, and you can add any of the terrain texture you want. Okay, so you can add multiple accordingly. Okay, just go to edit tunnel layers and create layer. Okay, like this. Okay, um so this both of these I can rename it as walls, and this is the door, and just let me look inside. Okay, and I'll tell you which kind of door you won't be able to work with and why we can work with this door. Okay, so suppose I have a door, okay, like this, and if you break down the part of any door, okay, it will have pretty much this border, okay, of the door. Okay, then the door itself, okay, then the lock. Okay, uh, in the game we may not necessarily need the lock should be as a separate object than the door. Okay, it may be attached. Okay, but here we our lock or the knob, okay, it is available as a separate object. And the door wing, okay, so the main door itself, the part of that door we can open it. Okay, so suppose if you have this door as everything as one object, okay, so like this. Okay, so suppose if this is a door and this is a single object, and there are no object, separate object attached to it, so you can't work with those kind of doors. Okay, so those are just environment props, and if you don't want any interaction with the door, you can place those kind of doors. Okay, but if you want to add interactions about you can open the door and you can get inside. If you want more interactions with any object, you have to make it as you have to break it in parts. Okay, so like they did with the JJ door to white. Okay, so this particular object, so it has three parts. Okay, the main, it's a complete door right now, and inside that we have a door wing. Okay, so if the door wing, if I rotate it, okay, so you can see, so it's separate than the main part. Okay, then obviously the door knob. Okay, so now if you see the door knob, you can't can you do anything with this? Okay, so suppose we want to animate this door. Okay, so then how it will be animated? It won't the entire door won't rotate like this. Okay, there is a part of the door which will rotate when we play an animation or when we will develop any animation. Okay, so if you see, it's rotating. Okay, and it's rotating from the middle. Okay, so there is one flaw, and another flaw is if we want to use the doorknob. Okay, so the doorknob, there is a handle of a doorknob or lock. Okay, so we have to push the handle, so we have to make an animation that this handle is being pushed. Okay, but if we want to make it pushed, it should be rotating like this. Okay, and if you see the bigger flaw over here, it is the handle, it is attached with the main lock. Okay, so the joints, the joints that we need, those are not there. Okay, so because of which it is pretty understandable that we can't work as we want with this object. Okay, so that is why when you need any of the custom or any object that you want to make it interactive with the player or anything, if you don't find it online, you have to make it. Okay, like this. So in the engineering terms, when they design any kind of this kind of doors or anything, any house or anything, they call it as a tear down benchmarking. So you don't need to understand that. Okay, you just know that it's tear down benchmarking, and they do it as they break down each parts and they develop it. So when if those parts are not joined, you can interact with those objects. So okay, so coming back, so here if you want to make the door move, okay, or rotate, so it's rotating from the middle, whereas we want it to be rotating from the hinge, okay, or hinge, or the joint we have at the edges of it, okay, but it's always rotating from the middle. So if I go to pivot of it, okay, now you see it's rotating from the bottom, okay. So it's a center, you can see the now the point is rotational point is, or the selection point is the center of the object. If I click on center, it's pivot, okay. So the pivot is at the bottom of it, okay. Now it's actually looking like we are opening and closing the door. Now what we need to do is we want to try to make a animation, and with our finger crossed that that it will work, okay. So the door is closed and I want to make an animation of door open and close, okay. So I'll create one animation. So so if you don't have this animation window over here, if you're wondering how it came, then go to window, go to animation and click on animation, okay. You'll get this window, okay. You'll get this window maybe floating around. You can drag and drop it over here, or you can work with there on itself, okay. So window, okay, go to animation and animation, okay. So you'll get that maybe floating like this, okay. You can dock it in the in this part of the window, okay. So I've docked it. So it's so the door wing selected, okay, this door wing selected, and it's asking it that to begin animating door wing, create an animation and animator and an animation clip, okay. So I'll create and I'll go to animations folder, okay. So I'll keep things organized there. So I'll name it as a door open, okay, door open anim. I'll save it, okay, and I'll record everything happening on the scene, and I'll try to move the door, okay. So I'll just stop recording and I'll just play. I'm sorry, we have to go to a second where we want to make the animation moving, okay. So it's like 1 second to open the door, okay. 1 second means 60 seconds, okay. Sorry, 60 frames over here. So these are frame rates, okay. So if you put 30, it will be 30 second, and if you go to 1 second, I made it 60, okay. So it's 60 frame per second, okay, 60 fps you can say technically. So we are at the 1 second time, and I'll just click on record now, and I will just rotate that board. So now stop, and now you see the door is opening, okay. Perhaps it should open from that side anyway, we'll work it out, okay. And now, so at the first second it is working well and it's opening. Are you finding it interesting, or I'm going too fast, or everything is messing up? Are you finding it interesting, or I'm just asking you to post something on the comment box? How to create asset, okay. So that I don't think that's a relevant question, but asset creation is the 3D model, you just create it. So if it's a model kind of asset, you have to create a 3D model of it. If it's an audio kind of asset, so audio asset, you have to make a audio. If you want to make a custom images or custom textures or anything, you have to Photoshop it. Okay, so now the door is we have animation. Okay, so that is making the door open. Okay, now at the same exact second, okay, 1 second, and I'll just check whether where it went. So the rotation amount is 459. Okay, so here you can see all the values. Okay, so again, I already told you this, but again, okay, so the animation is nothing but it's a kind of a related to your physical world. It is time and distance. Okay, time and the changing the position of a physical object. Okay, so that is physics in the real world, or that is everything we do in mathematics in the real world. And similarly, it's same in the animation as well. We have a time, okay, and we have keys over here. So these are the keys, okay, which is making the object move. Okay, so you can see, so it's we are rotating the object. So you can see door wing rotation. Okay, and rotation x value is 0 because we are not rotating it on the x axis. Rotation y, as we are rotating it on the y axis, so that is why there is a rotation value, and rotation dot z is 0. Again, we are not rotating it on the z axis. So z axis is a blue one and x axis is the red one. Okay, so you're not obviously rotating it like this. Okay, so if you want to make it fall on our player, we can make animation like this. Okay, so our player will die anyway. So similarly on the Z also, it's a pretty unusual to see a object or a door falling like that. Okay, so it's a rotation dot y, it's making some changes. If you see, from it's 360 degree right now, and as I'm moving this timeline, okay, this animation frames, okay, the frames are also changing. So it's at the 42nd, and similarly you can see the values are also changing. So it's everything. Everything happening at the back end is everything math. Okay, so math and related to physics, everything is numeric. It's happening inside. Okay, so it's taking the power of my GPU and making things happen. Okay, so that the 1 second, to make it more finite, I'll change the value. Okay, so here you can see I can change the value. So it's 459. I'll just make it 460. Okay, okay, so I'll make it 460, and so my door open animation is created. Now I'll go and create another new clip. So if my door wing selected, so earlier we have created one animation going to the create over here. Okay, so as we already have an animation on the door, okay, now we won't get to see that create option over here. Okay, so what we have to do, you have to click on this door open, whatever the first animation that we have created, click on it, create new clip. Okay, I want to create a new clip and I want to rename it as door close. Okay, I'll save it, and now it's a new animation. So we already have one door open animation and now the door close animation. Now remember, we had our door opened. Okay, and when we want to close it, okay, we have to go to the position of its open position. Okay, so open position was the rotational y value. If you remember, it was 460. Okay, so if I change the value, now you see the door is opened. Okay, it's rotated actually. So we are experiencing it as a door is opening, but it's everything happening is it's rotating itself. Everything is math and numbers anyway. So now we are at the 460 degree of it, and now we want to record. Okay, before recording I want to set the frames as 60. Okay, so it will move to 1 second. Okay, so at the 60th frame it should move to the close position. Okay, and I will record it. Okay, what I'll do over here, I can move the y value and I can close it like this. Okay, so this is the one way we can do this. Otherwise I knew that the close position was 360. Okay, so if I put the value over here, it will also move the object to that particular rotational point. So I'll stop recording. Okay, now you see, so at the same exact 1 second my door is being closed. Okay, so we have one that is opens the door. Okay, now we have another one that closes the door. Okay, now so we have two of the animations. If you go to project, we have created those animations inside animation folder, and you can see door close and door open. Okay, so these are animation components. Okay, animation clips perhaps. Okay, and this is an animation controller. Okay, so why do we need an animation controller for an object? Okay, so suppose this door. Okay, talking about this door, so this door, it could have only one animation. Okay, that is opens the door. Okay, and if we add two of the animations in one animation, okay, so what would happen is when we enter inside, we don't know what is the exact second it's going to be closed. Okay, so at that way it will pretty much load our GPU. Okay, so it will start calculating the time. When the time arrives, it will close the door. But now we want it to be opened when you want to open, and we want it to be closed when we trigger a close. Okay, so there are two animations over there. So similarly, if we are talking about any character, so a character have multiple animations like this door. Okay, so it has a run animation, it has a jump animation, it has a idle animation, it has a it has a punch animation, maybe it has a kick animation, like that. So if we don't have multiple animations, then it will create chaos in one animation set. Okay, so now we have multiple animations, and we need to trigger the exact animation at the exact same point of time, or exactly what our user wants. Okay, so that is why we have animation controller. So if I open this one, okay, so this is an animator. Okay, so this is a animation controller asset. Okay, now if you see over here, so when it enters, when we play the game, when this object is activated, it will directly go to door open. Okay, then it's not going to door close. Okay, because there are no states and anything. Okay, so we have to connect the states and we have to make it work. Okay, so we'll work it. Before that, let's see, just to check. Okay, so there it is, my rigid body object. I just move it in front of the door. Okay, perhaps that side of the door. Okay, so it seems we don't have light in this side. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll click on the directional light and I'll try to change its value of X so that we get light from this side. Okay, cool. Then let's play it and see what happens. So you see, it's always playing the door open. Okay, So if you go to animator, so entry, and it always opens the door. Okay, now going back to the game window. Okay, so door is always opening. Okay, and it's like pretty weird, right? So it's in the loop. Okay, so you have to stop that loop. Okay, how we do that is, if you click on this animation clips, okay, with this play button and play icon, sorry, so those are animation clips. So if you click on this and you see there is a loop time over here. Okay, so you have to deactivate the loop time. Similarly for the door open as well. Okay, so both of these we don't have loop right now, and when you play, now it opens the door and it stops there. Okay, so now we don't have anything to trigger to make the door close it by itself. Okay, so we just check for the time. Okay, so we are pretty much there. I'll just quickly create edit the script of rigid body first person controller. Okay, hope it will open quickly. Okay, and I'll try to add as fast as I can. Okay, so just be here. Okay, just try to understand whatever things I'm doing over here. And here you see, so earlier when we created one the coin object, okay, we didn't have, okay, so we didn't have that the collider to sense it. Okay, so it doesn't have a collider over here also. Okay, so you have to add a collider on top of this object. Okay, so that we can sense what are the animations are there inside that. Okay, so the door wing. Okay, I click on the door wing, and so there is an animator added. Okay, at the same point I want to add a component. It is a box collider. Okay, so if we add, now you see, if we add a box collider over here, okay, now if you see a box collider over here, then the box collider is added on the door wing. Okay, it's not on the door. Okay, so similarly if we add a collider on the door knob, okay, it will add the collider on the door knob. Okay, now what we want is, we don't want this collider on the door. Okay, what we will do instead is, we will remove this and we will try to add a collider on the window. Okay, so I'll add a component box collider. Now you see it have added a collider on the door. Okay, and you can also add collider at the door wing. Why you are not adding, you'll get to see. So we have a collider over here. We want it to be deactivated or activated whenever we want, and if we have a collider over there, we can't edit it and we can't make it bigger, so that our player will sense that he is in a door area. Okay, so anyway, I will add one box collider on the object itself, or I can add a mesh collider. Okay, so that it will calculate the mesh. Okay, and it will wrap it with collider. Okay, so we have a collider in the door, and we'll edit the collider from this side. Okay, I'll make it bigger as we did previously. Okay, from each of the side maybe. Okay, so these are the trigger area for the door. Okay, and I'll go back to the script. Okay, so let me make it as a is trigger. Okay, so earlier you have seen that if its trigger is not added, or activated, or if it's not set to true, then it the trigger won't work. Okay, we just can't pass through that particular collision object. Okay, so yeah, so any one of you, if you are adding the codes add inside inside anywhere, you have to add inside the class. Okay, so I've seen some of you are adding code outside the class, that is why it's not working. Inside the class and inside if you get to see any start method or update method, okay, start method, update method, just add paste the codes there. Okay, anyway, so I want to add two variables over here. So one is animator, I'll name it as door animation. Okay, and I want to set it public so that we can populate what's the animator we want to work with. Okay, and we want to add an method, okay, that is on collision stay. Okay, and inside that we want to check for collision dot tag double is equals to door. Yes. Okay, collision dot game object dot tag is equals to door. Then if it arrives at a door, okay, now we want to set some text print press F. Okay, press F to open the door. Okay, open, or maybe close also if you want. Okay, and okay, so this is pretty much everything, and we just have to add the door animation. Okay, so this will be activated, and if dot get key down, key code F, then we want to do something. Okay, what we want to do is door animation dot set trigger is open. Okay, so I'll save it whatever I've added the script, and I'll come back to Unity. So let it be loaded. So any questions? Yeah, I'll copy and paste it on the Slack group. You just you just come back to the video, and if you see where I have added the code. Okay, so if you have Visual Studio installed, I have started adding my codes in the line 120. Okay, and I was working with in the rigid body FPS controller script. Okay, rigid body FPS controller, and this is now, as I have added a public, I wanted a public variable to be connected with the script. Okay, so it's public over here, so that is why you see door animation, it wants the animation. So where we have added the animation, if you try to add this door over here, it won't take the door because it doesn't have an animation controller attached with it, if you see. Okay, so where we added the animation is door wing. Okay, so this door wing has an animated controller. Okay, so the read body FPS controller and the door wing, just drag and drop it. Now it's taking the door wing. Okay, and I'll go to animator, and when any we are in the when we are in the area. Okay, so the door should be closed at the first point. Okay, so this is the default state, that is why it's looking it's colored as a orange. I'll make door close as a default layer state. Okay, so default is door close. Okay, and I'll make a transition from the door close to door open. Okay, so when it will open the door. Okay, so there is a transition over here, so arrow key, I'll click on that. So when I want to open the door is condition. Now the list is empty. I have to add a condition over here. Okay, how I add a condition? I have to go to parameters. Okay, parameters, and I'll add a parameter. So that will be a trigger parameter. Okay, and as we have named it as a set trigger. Okay, trigger parameter is open. Okay, so I'll just simply copy and paste it. So the new trigger, I'll rename it as open. Okay, okay, and now how our object, this this player, how a player will know that he is in the trigger area of a door. Okay, so for that what we did is we tagged our door as a door. Okay, so as we did for the coin. Okay, so it's a similar approach for everything. Okay, so we have collected the coin, tagging it as a coin. Okay, now we are tagging the door. So any door you will have in your game, in your scene, so whenever your player approaches to that door, it will do it work. Okay, so this door, I want to tag it as door. Okay, so we have added door at the previous session, so it's there. If you don't know, if you can go back and see how we can add tag, or you just can simply go to the add tag. You can, so you have coin door. If you want to add anyone want to add anything, you can click on this plus, you can add it, you can save it. Okay, you can go back to you can select the object again and you can tag it. Okay, the door. Okay, so I've tagged it. Now let's see. So okay, just change the console. Second, there is our player. Okay, so it's closes and opens. Okay, because I was in a hurry and I probably forgot to add the condition. Okay, so you can see I forgot to add the condition. So this is a transition. So there is a condition. I've added the parameter over here, but I haven't added any condition. So I'll click on plus and it will, so whatever the parameters we have, okay, it will take those. Okay, so one we have as a open. Okay, so I have a open. When the condition is open, then only I want to open the door. Okay, so I'll go back to the scene. I'll play. Now the door is closed and okay, console is probably not. Okay, so we have issues here. Mhm. Mhm. So it's moving around. Door is closed. We are trying to open it, but it's not opening. Okay, so I'll just play it. And do you have time? Okay, so I'll take 5 minutes more. If you have anything very important than this to join in, just go and join. So if it's not fixed in this class, we'll try to fix it the next. Okay, so collision dot game object dot. So let us add compare tag. Mhm. Okay. Oh, sorry. I've added it on collision. Okay. So I should have added as a on trigger. Okay. Like this. I'll just check for its spelling. On trigger stay. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So it will work with the whatever we wrote previously. Maybe tag and okay. Let's see. So it's executing the code. Okay. Now it's played. The door is closed. When he arrives at that point, it's throwing an error on trigger stay. Okay, this message parameter has to be of type collider. It says okay. So uh, okay, so it's collision. So I have to change it as a collider and other. Okay, and this is other. And I'll save it and okay. So yeah, so I'll just copy the entire code. So I've added the code at the 120. Okay, so I'll just sorry, I'll just copy it. Okay, okay, so it came back to unity. So I'm at the area of the door. Now you see the press F to open the door. I'll click on F. It is open the door, and now I can pass through. Okay, okay, so yeah, um and at the same area, if we add another one over here, say input get key down. So I'll just copy this one and I'll just quickly paste it over here. So if input dot get key down, if now G, so it is G, then I want to set it as a close. Okay, so how I do that? I'll quickly come back to Unity, and I'll create a transition back from door open to door close, and I'll add another parameter, that is trigger. I'll set it as close. Okay, so when door open, we'll go to door close. Okay, okay, door close, the condition will be close. Okay, I'll save it. Yeah. So the unsaved scene, that's why it prompted to save the scene. Okay, so now the door is closed. I've arrived the point where I can open the door. I click F, now it opens the door. I click G, it closes the door. Okay, so now can I pass through? No, I can't. Okay, I have to open the door first. So I click F, now I'm stuck. Okay, yeah, I came through. And from this side, if I want to close the door, click G and it closes the door. Now the portal is closed. Okay, anyway, so now it's open. Can't pass through. Okay, anyway, I can go back there. From this side I can come. I can check for this. Okay, now it's closed. Okay, so this is how it works, and I'll just quickly drop the code for you. I add the code from line 120 to 137. Okay, copied it and just added the Slack. Okay, so check your Slack. I pasted the code there. Okay, yeah, so it was I'm pretty late anyway. So this is pretty much for today. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the session, and if you have any questions, so we are already connected in the Slack. You can post your questions there, and I think you have to end the class, and if you have any questions, and I can help you out there. Okay, okay, cool then. Thank you guys. You are being a nice audience and very interactive as well. Okay, so I'll get your questions in the Slack, and thank you for joining. Keep yourself safe. Take care of your family also. Okay, bye. Thank you.